All right, sure. Festivals have been an integral part of human civilization. Festivals promote diversity. They bring neighbors into dialogue and they increase creativity. They offer opportunities for civic pride. And most importantly, they improve our general psychological well being. A very good evening to everyone. It is with great pleasure that I welcome all of you on behalf of the Indian Institute of Management, Bodh Gaya, to the opening ceremony of Elegante 5.0, our annual Cultural Management and Sports Fest. IIM Bodh Gaya is a constituent of the prestigious and the premier IIM brand, which symbolizes top-notch management education and contributes to the holistic development of individuals. Being a part of this elite band, we take pride in envisaging the reputation of IIMs and the importance of management education in and around Bihar. Despite being a relatively new institute, we gradually evolved into a revered name amongst the aspirants of management education in our country. Our institute comprehensively promotes academic rigor, intellectual discipline, and extracurricular activities. We envision bringing back the glory days of Nalanda. As responsible managers of the future, we also believe that contributing to society is as imperative as our academic achievements. Our annual cultural fest saw immense participation from all IIMs, prestigious B schools, and other top colleges in 2019. Aspiring to surpass these glorious standards and to strive towards excellence of holistic development, we are proud to announce the 5th edition of our annual Management, Cultural and Sports Fest, Elegante 5.0.
Elegante is organized by the super talented pool of students from the various clubs and committees of IIM Bodh Gaya. It is our platform to reinforce our existing principles and dwell further into the art of cooperation, relationship strengthening, and overall development of the society by bringing together students hailing from different fields across the length and breadth of the country. The actively growing participation of students from different colleges every year affirms the relevance and meaningfulness of this celebration. It is a hustle-bustle affair with a gamut of events rolled to test talent and mental ability, logical thinking and creativity. All in all, it is a fun-filled event gelled with cerebral grilling and creative palette. We sincerely hope you enjoy all the events. At this point, we would also like to thank the sponsors of Elegante 5.0, whose support has been very important to us. Our title sponsors State Bank of India, co-sponsor Union Bank of India, learning partner Asset Compounder Academy, education partner EduShastra, knowledge partner eLearn, and finally Chatur Ideas, our crypto partner. Thank you once again for your continued support of Elegante 5.0. On behalf of the Indian Institute of Management, Bodh Gaya, I consider it a privilege to welcome the chief guest of today's inaugural function, Mr. Kamlesh Patel, known to many as Pujya Daaji. We also have with us today Dr. Soumya Prakash Patra, Students Affairs Chairperson, IIM Bodh Gaya. I would also like to take this opportunity to welcome all the faculty members, non-teaching staff, participants, and all our students to this inaugural ceremony.
Thanks, Nia. There could not have been a more appropriate guest to address this gathering for the inaugural ceremony of a fest filled with energy and enthusiasm at the Enlightening IIM. Kamlesh Patel, known to many of us as Daaji, hails from Gujarat. He is currently the president of Sri Ramchandra Mission, managing trustee of Sahaj Marg Spirituality Foundation, founder of the Heartfulness Institute, Heartfulness Education Trust, and Brighter Minds. His own journey with heartfulness started when he was still a pharmacy student in Ahmedabad, where he met his guide, Sri Ramchandra of Shahjahanpur, the founder and the first president of Sri Ramchandra Mission. After migrating to the USA, he raised a family and built a successful pharmacy business in New York. In 2011, he was announced as the fourth in the century-old lineage of spiritual masters in the Heartfulness way. Under Daaji's loving care, the Heartfulness movement has expanded exponentially to millions of seekers in over 130 countries. Daaji is especially supportive of today's youth in guiding them with practical self-development tools and universal values. His initiatives of Heartfulness Education and Heartfulness Green focus on bringing back life skills of emotional well-being and promote his vision of bringing human societies in tune with nature. Daaji bridges the ancient traditional wisdom with scientific knowledge and experimentation, an explanation of yoga in the light of modern science. He travels the world conducting meditations with yogic transmission for seekers around the globe. He regularly shares his wisdom and perspectives on topics through public speaking engagements, blog posts, and social media platforms. A true visionary in the era where science and spirituality have come together to address the pressing needs of humanity in transition. It's truly an honor to have you with us today, sir. Now, I humbly request our chief guest, Daaji, to deliver the most awaited speech of the evening. Please, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. I do appreciate very greatly our director, Professor Vinita Sahai, for inviting us from Heartful Institution. Whole journey makes us ask a lot of questions, the total overall journey of our life. What are we doing here? The fundamental question, where did I come from? Where am I going? How do I manage this life masterfully? And when all these questions do arise, then this component, spiritual component, or as many would put, religious component of our life comes up. To me, religion is like a theory, and spirituality is like a practical laboratory. In religion, we are taught various theories. Every religion teaches God is love. No religion disputes from that. They also say God is all merciful, because that is, having addressed God as merciful, it fulfills our need. Had he not been merciful, what would have become of us? So out of need, we create certain qualities, that he is omnipotent, so that whenever I need his help, he can address my needs. Similarly, omniscient nature that is bestowed on God, so that he knows everything, he can fulfill my needs. So all this quality attributed to godly entity is based upon the human need. But what is that divine agency after all? See? We will not go in detail with the esoteric aspect of our ancient system. When it was mentioned, let's all reawaken the knowledge system that we once upon a time had, when this country, this world witnessed Nalanda from Bihar. What was the specialty of Nalanda institution? All that was taught was also rehearsed in a practical way. That's how it became very famous. It was not just empty words, but practically demonstrating what can happen if you experiment this way or that way. When we move on in life, as you are passing out from 12th, you had frustrations. Will I be able to get enough grades to enter into a rightful college? Then you moved on, became good, I would say, achievers. And now you are in management at Bodh Gaya, Indian Institute of Management. It's a very prestigious institute at Bodh Gaya. Not many can achieve such a residence in Bodh Gaya and academically. Management. What are we trying to manage? If we fully focus our lives in a spiritual direction, there is a drawback also. What did our research achieve? By abandoning the world, you are making a world a sort of some talent. Imagine Einstein had to become a sannyasi, or Newton had to become a sannyasi, or all these great scientists had to become sannyasis. It would be disastrous. The world will be a poorer place without such great scientists. Similarly, when we draw too much attention in the material world, material success, somewhere, somehow, we lose out a lot in the spiritual world, and our life remains topsy-turvy. You are succeeding in one field and failing in another. Such things really do not matter while we are young. But as we age and we have children and grandchildren, then you start wondering about the worth of this life And when the death is nearing, then you start reflecting, what have I really achieved? How would I live my life if God gives me another chance for leading a life for another 90 years? Will it be different from what I had left? So we have to analyze all these things, not at the end of my life, but if we can analyze this here and now when we have the opportunity to make a difference. You can extrapolate your life theoretically that, okay, theoretically, I'm on a tangent A. And imagine all kinds of activities you are performing on that exclusively materialistic approach or exclusively spiritual approach, or you are bridging both and see how your life takes. Theoretically, also, you can dissect your trajectory and somehow conclude that what if I go on this path, I'll be like this. If I go on this path, I'll be like this. So the great Swami Vivekananda used to say, we have these two, excuse me, just as a bird has two wings, like that we also have two wings to balance with, spiritual wing and a material wing. And it is the tail of the bird that gives the direction. It moves the tail this way and it makes a turn in the opposite way. So like that, when the heart gives the indication, that's the direction we generally follow. And often when we follow the heart, the result will always be proper and as desired. You analyze all this. You say that whenever you have made a decision against the conscience of your heart, can you recollect the outcome of that decision? Similarly, when you do properly, mental jugglery and say logically it fits like this, but my heart says no, what should I do? Always follow the heart. But often there is a confusion. This great confusion remains whether it's my mind speaking or whether it's my heart speaking. So you have to, pull out yourself from a situation consciously for a few minutes. Go within yourself, or at least at bedtime, become very quiet and peaceful and offer a prayer to God that, look, I have this situation. My mind says so, my heart says so, and I don't know which one to follow. And in a day or two, you will definitely come up with a crystallized, crystal clear answer in your heart. And then what you actually need after that, the simple courage to follow that decision. See, often youngsters, they ask me, how to conclude whether it's my mind speaking or my heart speaking. See, whenever we have done wrong thing, I think heart always speaks louder. Or when you are about to speak something wrong, heart speaks louder. When you are about to speak the truth, heart keeps quiet. When someone asks you your name, oh, what is your name? And you say, instead of your correct name, you end up saying that I am Jairaj or I am Jaya. What will happen to your heart at that moment? It will skip a bit and say, oh, I shouldn't have spoken a lie like that. See? But when you have to address yourself as you are and you correctly say, I am who I am, your heart doesn't skip any beat. It just goes on without any signals. So let me give you another example that when you are able to see things properly with your eye, you don't congratulate your eyes and say, wow, wonderful, you are seeing well. Or when you are hearing well, you don't congratulate your ears for saying, oh, I'm hearing very well. But the moment something goes wrong with your ears or with your eyes or with your heartbeat. It's a signal to visit doctor. See, whenever something goes wrong, something is not in tune with nature, it speaks louder with a deeper voice. Just as we speak a lie and heart becomes heavier, just as we speak the truth and it doesn't give any signal, like that. Whenever there's a wrong decision, or suppose you're going to get married to someone, there is a proposal, your father or mother brings a proposal, how are you going to select? Look in your heart and see what your heart suggests. If it beats or skips some beats and your heart becomes heavier, immediately say no. But moment your heart becomes joyous, blissful, and lighter, it's a very simple way of saying that, yes, I agree to marry this person. Similarly, many situations in life, when you are doing business, I was introduced as a pharmacist doing a pharmacy business in New York City. The business is still going on. At the same time, I'm managing this great spiritual organization called Sri Ramchandra Mission. Nothing prevents you from doing your material world duties towards the family. At the same time, nothing has prevented me from rendering my services as a trustee of a spiritual organization. See, what must go together? As you move on in life, you'll be graduating soon. You'll be employed by very powerful organizations. You'll be also very successful financially. I only wish one thing, that don't make it a topsy-turvy success. If you succeed in one field, you got to succeed in a spiritual realm also. Otherwise, I assure you, you will not find your life completely fulfilled. You'll always find there is some emptiness. Just for a test sake, you ask your dean, for example, dean must be what, 50 years old or 60 years old in your college, or the director, Mrs. Sahai, or why go that far? You ask your parents or grandparents, is there anything great that you have experienced that you would like to share with your grandchildren? You ask such a question. What is the greatest thing that you have experienced in your life that you would like me to share? The same experience that my grandfather or my father had this, and I like to share that with you through, it may be a religious experience or it may be an extraordinary out of the world experience. Because most of us are talking of gods and goddesses. There's nothing wrong with it, but I have better faith, better trust in the person who says, I don't believe because I have not experienced. They're quite honest about it. When a person says, I believe in God, and when you reverse and ask the question, why do you believe in God? Then they say, oh, my mother taught me like that, my father taught me like that, or my religious scriptures tell me so, our society talk, our religion speaks. But what about you? So we have been giving indirect examples, indirect authority, that so and so said so, so I believe so. Modi ji meditated for 8 hours in one of those caves, so meditation must be good. But these are all hearsay kind of a thing, you see. As a youth, when we are challenged with such question, do you believe in God? Honest thing to say is, you know, uncle, I really don't know. I like to believe, please don't misunderstand, but I need to experience that. And that's what at Heartfulness, we bring about theory in one way, and also the experiment. What sort of experiment? You are the scientist. Your heart becomes a laboratory, and you are the product of that experiment. When you meditate as per this method, And the experiences that you undergo day after day, day after day, day after day, as we become purer and purer, more loving at each stage, our consciousness changes. And as the consciousness change, our personality also changes. And based on that, our experiencing of the divinity will also change. I cannot tolerate 100% divinity at the moment, the way my purity is. I will not be able to withstand that ultimate purity. You will not recognize yourself if you become totally 100% divine in nature at the moment. So little by little, to the extent I can tolerate that divinity, my consciousness changes and I become better and better, better and better. See? That's why in heartfulness way of meditation, we say, okay, when you meditate, think of the presence of divinity. But how will you think of divinity? Something that you have never seen, never experienced. So we begin with a hypothesis. Never ever imagine God in a certain form. Now, let me share with you a very interesting argument. Bodh Gaya, place of nirvana for Lord Buddha. If I ask you to imagine the physical form of Lord Buddha, how would you imagine? How was he? Immediately the statue comes to your mind. And even if you happen to see the original form, the physical form of Lord Buddha, would you become wiser? Because then the so many thousands and thousands of monks, they saw him in a real form, and yet they did not attain nirvana the way Buddha attained. Similarly, some of you might be Krishna Bhakta or Shiva Bhakta or a Ram Bhakta, nothing wrong with it. But if I ask you, imagine and see how the form of Lord Krishna is. How does he look like? How would you imagine? Something like Nitin Bhardwaj from Mahabharat movie? Or some statue that your mother or father has in the house? Or a photograph that you may have seen somewhere in the books. And same thing applies to Lord Shiva. Now, when no one could understand Lord Krishna even during his lifetime, neither Karna nor Arjuna nor Yudhishthir, no one understood Lord Krishna. No one realized his divinity. How are we going to understand Lord Krishna with imaginary forms? By thinking of Nitin Bhardwaj, you cannot understand Lord Krishna. Even when they heard directly from him, none became wiser. We are hearing, stories after stories after stories, right, wrong. We are not questioning all that. But you will never become wiser by listening and listening unless and until they say you make it part of your life. When Lord Krishna talks about lead a life as if, this dirty pond is giving birth to a lotus leaf. Lotus leaf remains surrounded in a dirty pond, yet it remains unaffected. So this is the advice Gita gives. But how is it possible? How am I going to lead a life which will remain unaffected in this topsy-turvy, crazy world? You can enter the coal mine. Bihar is also known for coal mines. Imagine if you go with your white shirt and lovely red tie, enter the coal mine. Will you come out or escape from that coal mine without a speck of dust of coal? It's impossible. We are living in this world in such a way, something or the other, consciously or unconsciously, will rub off on your conscious mind. And it will always impact us. And this impact remains as a cognate in our mind. What we call conditioning. Imagine a child growing in Afghanistan, child growing in streets of Houston or streets of New York, child growing in Bodh Gaya, for example, all under 4 different conditions. The environment does affect the mind. Someone can behead the goat just like that without feeling guilty about it. Someone can behead a human being without feeling guilty about it. Someone can do whatsoever they like and nothing can happen to them. So these are all conditioning imposed by the society, the surrounding, the environment. So what sort of environment we carry within ourselves that affects our mind and heart, and ultimately our soul. The way we think, the way we act, right? Our pravrittis, that creates our nature. It makes our prakriti, our own inner nature is created by our actions and thoughts. And as we change our nature, our prakriti, we keep on creating prarabdha, our destiny. I highly recommend you one simple book. You guys can finish it off within 1 hour. You can download it also. It's freely available. As a Man Thinketh, by an author called James Allen, 18th century philosopher. It talks about the results of our actions. Why do you feel good? Because something that you acted, something that you did is as per your desire. If the results are not as per your desires, you will feel bad. Now, that action that you performed, before that you must have planned. If that planning went wrong, then the action would also go wrong and the results will also be wrong. Before the planning, you had certain level of thinking. So thinking precedes planning, planning precedes action, action precedes results. But what precedes our thinking? Intentions. And why would you intend in certain way? If I give a choice to all of you, let us see, we put 100 different perfumes from different brands, Hugo Boss to Polo to Tag to, you name it, Estee Lauder or Elizabeth Arden or Orlean, all kinds of perfumes. None of you will pick the same bottle. Why? But our inner nature chooses something based on my liking and disliking. And this likes and dislikes creates my intentions. Intentions creates thoughts. Thoughts creates, this planning. Planning creates actions and results is as per my likes and dislikes, my nature. And how do I change my nature? That is the topic of yoga, and that's why I invite you, whenever you guys feel like, you're most welcome to Kanha. You can visit our Kanha website, and I assure you, you'll have free accommodation for 3 days and 3 nights. You will not be charged for anything. You'll have a jolly good time. It's one of the best premises you can have, or you can even imagine in the world. There is no place like this on the planet. So you're most welcome. And I invite you so that you can meditate at least for 10-15 minutes. The rest of the time, you guys can have good old time. As they say, we are youngsters, and talks and songs and dance and all that goes on. See, Nothing wrong with all that. So if you all permit, would you like to try these things out? I'll help you go through relaxation and help you meditate. And afterward, if you like to pursue it further, you can write to me so that I can take up your spiritual journey more seriously.
Sure, sir. We would love to do that.
Yeah. So you have 15 minutes time right now with you?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's all close our eyes. Now gently pay attention toward your feet. And imagine that the energy from Mother Earth is entering through your feet, which is helping you relax. Permit this energy to move upward towards your calf muscles and your knees. Helping these calf muscles and knees to relax. Now permit this energy again to move into your thigh muscles. And your hip area. Feel them getting relaxed. Permit this energy to move upward, your entire back, from shoulders down to your tailbone. Now allow this energy to move in front, your stomach area, abdominal area, and your chest area. Permit this energy to move into your shoulders. Feel them almost melting away, becoming very light. Allow this energy to move into your biceps, your elbows, and your lower hands. Your palms and fingers. Feel them getting completely relaxed. Now your neck muscles. Allow this energy to move upward into your jaws. Feel them getting relaxed. Your facial muscles, your lips, your nose, your eyelids and eyebrows, your forehead, your earlobes, and your top of your head. Now scan the whole system between toes and top of your head. Feel the entire system completely relaxed. If any part is still heavier, you can revisit that area and allow the energy from Mother Earth heal it. Now we are ready to begin meditation. Continue with your eyes closed and pay attention towards your heart. Let's begin with this hypothesis that divine presence is already there in my heart. So we are invoking that presence, that if you are there, please let me experience. Have this idea and also think that special power is descending into you from this divine source. If it is there, you will feel it. Please continue with this thought. Whether thoughts do come, let them come. Don't fight with them. Just remind yourself that I am now meditating on the divine presence in my heart. So if you have one or two questions, I will be happy to answer you related to your field or meditation or real life questions.
Uh, Thank you, sir. Thank you. Yania, please go ahead.
Thank you, sir, for your insightful speech and the meditation session. On behalf of all of us present, I can certainly say that was quite an enthralling experience. Now, as you said, our audience has been super excited by your presence, and some of them would like to ask a few questions. So first up, we have Sai Prasad. You can go ahead and ask your question, Sai.
First of all, thank you, sir, for such a wonderful session. And this is one of the most heartful and mindful sessions that I have attended. So to keep the motivation, on the notes which you have shared, I have one question on mindfulness. And so our time call on more conscious and collaborative and resilient leaders. On that note, how mindful leaders can cultivate a secure culture where productivity, trust, and collaboration will thrive?
See, one has to remain focused with this awareness that I would like to evolve, not just spiritually, but materially also. My material welfare, which is reflected by prosperity, success in making decisions. I have to keep my goal focused that I want to achieve this. And once I have the goal in my mind, this awareness will open up the way of especially what not to do. See, most of us waste time. See, many people ask me this question that, Mr. Patel, how do you run a business while meditating? I say, look, when I meditate, the most important thing that happens to me is, as soon as I get up in the morning, I close my eyes and meditate for at least 40 to 45 minutes. During this 45 minutes, I would say it would take me about 5 to 10 minutes on an average to really get settled down and meditate. And then once I come out of this meditative state, my thoughts will be here and there, what should I be doing during the day? And the plan will come, so I have to meet this person, I have to meet that person, I have this venture coming up, I have to order this from this factory or that factory. Then automatically the mind will say, okay, don't meet this person, don't order from this company. This is too expensive, verify with another company. So many answers come from inside. And especially when we are guided from the heart that, okay, don't deal with this person, that means you have saved 1 hour of your time. But each meeting, when you meet certain individuals, you lose a lot of time when they are unproductive. But beforehand, through your meditative practices, if you come to know that dealing with this person is not a good thing, you save a lot of time by doing this. You also get sensitized about what not to do ahead of time. So there's plenty of saving of time. Not only that, you save a lot of money also, you see. So you become extremely productive. In relationships also, you become so sensitized that last time I spoke like this and my beloved was hurt. So next time I will not speak like that. So these sorts of resolutions, they keep coming and reinforcing our heart time and again during the meditation. See, the key is that you got to meditate and keep your intentions clear.
Thank you, sir. Next up, we have Akash Parashar. Please go ahead and ask your question.
First of all, thank you so much, sir, for such insightful words. And sir, as we are in process to become future leader, doubt is there in my mind that how do we conquer the drift between ethical dilemma and logic in business, if perhaps one day we desire to become a socially fit business leader?
Well, especially in India, this constant jugglery is there between morality, ethical decisions, and confirming with the legal requirements. It's a big challenge. Even if the chief minister of any state or even Modi ji has to buy a land in some place, you cannot do a business without that black money. There are times, I mean, I'm in my position. Excuse me. As a spiritual person, where we build ashrams. Many places in India, we have almost 250 ashrams. There are many cities or municipalities where the officers, they will not move your paper unless and until some baksis is given to them. See? Even to a spiritual person, they don't leave you alone. The demands are so great, sometimes 3 lakhs, sometimes 4 lakhs, sometimes 10 lakhs. Our society has become shameless. There is no guilt, there is no remorse, and perchance, if you record them and put them on a public platform, still your papers will not move. He may be suspended for a week or so, but then other officers in the government will gang up and say, be careful of this institution. So there is no honesty left with, and a lot of great things has happened actually under the current government, where it has become a paperless. A lot of things are happening through technology, where you are not meeting face to face with the officers, which is a great thing actually. So to answer your question, this ethical dilemma and suffering as a result of making a I think you'll have to let go of that. I am not a promoter of any baksis to any officers, but in the greater interest of your organization, if you have to do that, I think pray to God to forgive you and let the business go on. You're not here to change the world. And as they say, the end justifies the means. You understand, brother? When Lord Krishna had to fight a battle, and there are a lot of questionable decisions he had to make, right? There are many techniques he used, tactics he applied. Same thing happened during the Ramayana time. Lord Rama was forced to do certain things which are called today unethical. But remember one thing, and justifies the means. Do whatsoever you have to do to fulfill the company's interest or your interest. If your boss, the CEO or the owner is against you, you deal with them as per their terms. If they cross their limits, you know what to do.
Yeah, thank you once again, sir. Next, we have Vaibhav. Vaibhav, if you could please go ahead and ask your question. Vaibhav, you're on mute.
Can you hear me now? All of us have been having a very stressful day, and hearing your voice in the 15-minute meditation session means it was very relaxing. So you talked about the dilemma between the heart and the mind. I have a question on that. Like, how can one continue to follow his heart and be on the right path of being socially responsible or his long-term goal when we see our friends achieve greater success, maybe using wrong practices in the short term?
Well, you correctly use the word short term. See? And we are not here for fulfilling the goals in a short term way. You see, our goal, after all, I mean, you can divide it in many, many ways. You see, someone can accelerate the profit making and surpass you in acquiring the first four-wheeler perhaps. And somebody might even go ahead and say, not just the four-wheeler, but Mercedes-Benz. Okay. But overall, if you look at the happiness of the heart, it will be questionable. See, even though somebody might be just riding a scooty, but his heart will be unquestioning. His heart will be at peace for not doing a wrong thing. So we should not, I think, do wrong things and accelerate this wrong way of process, because ultimately we do pay a price. When we are breathing our last and we are praying to see how will I see my maker? Will I be able to meet my eyes with the Lord with pride, with courage? It's better to fail in this world and make the Lord happy. So if you have that spirit, then there is nothing to worry about. But if you remain jealous, for example, oh, my such and such a friend got this, then you will not have peace of mind. And in a closed-knit families, it does happen. And it also happens, let us say, if somebody in Russia or somebody in UK got promotion of $10 million, you will not worry about it, or you will not think twice about it. But if one of your classmates gets a job, $10 million offer, right after the graduation, or you'll say, oh, where did I go wrong? You'll start thinking about, because you are able to relate with your classmates. So we have to go beyond this sort of thinking, see, that what you have, nobody can take away. What you can provide, no one can also provide. See. We are all unique in our own abilities. We can contribute in our own way. See. And never ever compare, never ever. Comparison kills the motive. It's a solid break that will prevent you from growing.
Yes, thanks again, sir. So due to time constraint, we'll be ending the Q&A session with this. We thank all those who have actively participated. We thank you too, sir.
Thank you, and welcome to Kana.
Yeah. So to quote Daaji himself, you are the experimenter, the experiment, and the outcome. Your laboratory is your heart. A very thoughtful, thought-provoking word indeed, in that it tends to incite a sense of responsibility, wholesomeness, and a heartful approach towards life. Once again, on behalf of all of us here at IIM Bodh Gaya, we thank you for generously accepting our warm invitation and gracing this occasion with your presence and words of wisdom. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
And Daaji, sorry for entering, without your permission. This is Vinita Sahai, Director, IIM Bodh Gaya. My students had asked me to join a little later, but I couldn't stop myself hearing your voice. And I myself thought that I should be actually listening to what you had to share with my students. We are so very thankful to you, Daaji, for having taken out time for such a young campus and having spoken to my students. There is so much that we need to learn about heartfulness. There is so much of being that we have to practice. We all have been doing too much of doing. And I think gurus and saints like you have such a role in this. We really need to learn so much, sir. And I am very, very thankful that on request of my students, you gave your gracious acceptance and you handled not just many of their queries. In fact, I was wanting to say to students that please keep asking if you have any more questions, because no matter what we say and do, nothing can be any close to the wisdom that you would share with them. So thank you so much. And again, I would, from my bottom of my heart and from my entire campus, I hope and I pray that one day we would be able to bring you on campus so that we can actually have this energy in physical spaces and we can share spaces.
Yes, Vinitaji. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for your kind words. At this point, we would also like to ask you to please declare Elegante 5.0 open.
I announce the opening of this Elegante, the festival which my students, in spite of not being on campus and in spite of all the constraints, they've been such wonderful lot and they have not allowed anything to dampen their spirit. So my best wishes to each one of you, and may we all get together as soon as possible. And for the seniors, yes, the campus is waiting for you for your convocation, because that is, in fact, would be a very befitting goodbye to all of you, because
thank you once again, ma'am.
We could not be with you. So thank you so much, and enjoy your space and enjoy your event.
Yeah. Thank you once again, ma'am, for your inspiring words.
This is SBI, committed to every Indian, with a legacy that spans over 2 centuries of pioneering work, that has been responsible for many momentous firsts, that has single-handedly empowered generation after generation after generation across rural and urban India. And that has truly been a bank as big and diverse as India itself.
एक बार आके देख लो, कहीं मैंने कोई गड़बड़ तो नहीं कर दी।
सिर्फ मेरा नाम क्यों?
अरे जिसने घर खरीदा है उसी का नाम होना चाहिए ना।
और फ्रेंड्स क्या कहेंगे?
कहेंगे कि काश अपनी बीवी भी ऐसी होती।
पिछले 100 सालों से ऐसी हर अच्छी शुरुआत का साथ दे रहे हैं हम, यूनियन बैंक ऑफ इंडिया।
Ralph Emerson believed that the reward of a thing well done is having done it. However, we would be falling short of our duty if we do not recognize a thing well done and encourage it. May I now request Dr. Soumya Prakash Patra to declare Elegante 5.0 open and render the vote of thanks.
Dear students, my dear friends, it's my privilege to have been asked to propose a vote of thanks on the inaugural session of Elegante 5.0. I thank our director for sharing her wisdom and opening the event for the public. I, on behalf of IIM Bodh Gaya and the entire fraternity of management here, extend very heartily gratitude to our chief guest, Pujya Daaji, our sponsors, SBI, UBI, EduShastra, E-Learn Markets, Chatur Ideas and Asset Compounder, our student team, and the whole management behind the function for gracing your crucial work and making this event a success. I declare this event open. Please continue to join with us for the future events. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. And thank you to all of us for staying with us today. Just a short reminder, the HR event is going to happen tonight at 8:30 p.m. So tune into that. That will be the very first event happening on behalf of Elegante. And we hope all of you enjoy the events in the upcoming days of Elegante 5.0. And this is Hari Ania signing off. Thank you.